Okay, Nadia.
Hi.
Hi. I got to ask you a question. Do you have maybe someone in your life who's maybe passed on, grandmother, grandfather, somebody that a while ago passed on that you were kind of close to and you think about occasionally? Do you have somebody like that?
Yeah, I have a few.
Okay, well, pick one person out. And while you're doing that, I have some of my business cards. I'm going to count out 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Would you check to make sure I counted right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and who did you decide to come up with?
A teacher.
A teacher? Well, you can tell me her name. It's okay. Her first name would be okay, I guess.
His name was Lance.
Lance.
Yeah.
Okay. Take and pick one of those cards out, and write Lance's name down. On the back. Yeah. Okay. And after you've done that, put the card back with the rest and mix them up. Okay. And just give them to me here and put them in here, okay. And would you seal it up? How's it taste? Good?
Oh yeah, great.
Good? Okay. And, okay. And, oh, you know what? Let's do this. Sign your name on the back.
Okay.
Yeah, well, go ahead. You just sign your name on the back. Now, will you count those?
Yes.
Over here.
5, 6, 7.
Okay. And there's 7 there?
Yes.
Okay, you want to slide those inside there? And yeah, just, and seal it. Okay. And give me the pen. You want to write your name on the back? Go ahead. Okay, fair? Okay. I've done this kind of thing before. It's kind of crazy if it works. I don't know if it will or not, but can I have your hand?
Sure.
And can I have yours?
Yes.
Okay, let me just do this. You might join your other 2 hands. It might be helpful. Okay, just give me a second here to see if this is going to work. I don't know if it is or not. We'll just give it a try. Would you open yours up?
Sure.
Okay. That's okay. Don't break your nails there. Take out the cards.
Okay.
Okay. Would you find the one that says Lance?
It's not there.
Count the cards out loud one at a time.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
There's only 6 cards.
Yes.
Lance is not there.
Yes.
Would you pick up your envelope? Open it up. First of all, take them out face down. Would you count out loud how many cards there are there?
1,
Out loud.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
You did count 7 before, didn't you?
I did.
Let me just see something here. Look at. Is that the card that you wrote there?
Yeah.
The death card traveled invisibly. Crazy, isn't it?
Yep.
Thank you.
Now, Tom Sellers contributed kind of an interesting effect here, which has the very ominous name of Death Flight.
Death Flight.
And, but unlike some of the other living and dead tests, I mean, it does involve the name of somebody who's passed on, but interestingly enough, it actually has the plot of like a Cards Across
Exactly.
kind of thing. So let's talk about this.
I love this effect because it's so simple. Some envelopes, I like the bigger kind, some business cards, and that's pretty much it. You start by having 6 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards, like that. And these go into an envelope.
Just business cards.
Just business cards.
Yep. Okay.
I mean, you could use obviously blank cards
Sure.
or whatever you want. I like to use my business cards. So 6 cards in here, sealed up. And then one more envelope you take and put 1 card inside. And that's it. Ready to go.
Okay.
And so that the one with the single card is on top. So
And that's not sealed.
and that's not sealed.
All right.
Okay, so you begin by giving somebody 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right.
And you ask that person to count them again just to make sure there's 7 there. And when they're done, take 1 card, turn it over, and put on it the name of someone who's passed on.
All right.
And in the meantime, I get 7 more cards ready for the second person. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's all we need.
All right.
So then after you've done that, I say put the card back with the rest and mix them up so you don't know yourself where the
Okay.
the card is, and give them back to me. And then I just put them right inside the envelope. Now remember, there's a card in there already. So I've just added 1 card to this, so now there's 8 cards, and one of them is the signed one.
Okay.
So that's all there is to that. I ask you to seal it, if
All right.
you don't mind. And
Okay.
while he's doing that, I get a little break under the top just to make the next move easier. And I take it back like this, with the flap side up. And I say, oh, by the way, I'll take the pen, and I just do a double lift.
All right. Double turnover.
Double turnover, I'm
Yep.
sorry. So in
No,
other
that's
words,
right, yeah.
so it's like this. This is the one that you just sealed. I've got a break under here. So I just go like this, and I say, okay, here, let's put your name on the back. Just like that. So I write Jim, okay, and then I just hand you the card, say, put it away. And I've kind of done that so that the whole stack is turned over. So now, the next person, I turn over here. Let's say this is Joe over here. I say, Joe, okay, here's 7 cards for you. You want to count them out loud? And he does, and there's 7 cards there. And I hand him an envelope, a blank one, and I say, okay, could you just, put the cards in there and seal them? And he does that. And just like with you, I take it back like this, and what I do is I just do this, right? And as I reach for the pen, in this case, I turn over the whole stack. Now I put Joe's name like this. And of course, you're engaging people in conversation as you're doing
Sure.
this. That's how you, and here, okay, you put, and I do that, and everything looks fine. And you put that away in your pocket, and it's done. Because now when you open yours up, yours is going to have 6 cards inside.
Right.
And the card with the name is missing. And in this case, let's do it.
All right. So.
Yeah, you can open it. And
But you before we do that, I mean, you do kind of the theater. You had
Oh,
people
yeah.
join hands and
yeah, I just thought that would be kind of neat. Everybody holds hands and touches
to kind of
each other.
show where it's what's happening, or at
Yeah.
least when it happened.
Exactly, and also I think when I did this yesterday, I had everybody, the person whose hands I was holding, I set their hands on top
Right.
of the envelopes. So I had each one of them, I was holding their hands, and then they were holding each other's hands.
So there
make
seemed
a
to be some
circle.
point of connection.
Yes.
All right.
And
So-
and I could have probably built it up even more. Like, do you feel something? Some kind of vibration or whatever. So I think it's done. Might say something
Yeah.
like that, and then you open it up. And now let's say I haven't asked for the name yet, which is a little different than I did it
Okay.
yesterday, which is a different way to present it. Okay,
All right.
well, if you open it up, and I'd say, okay, would you find the card with the name on it?
Right. They'll
then
look
you
through
would-
them. They'll say, no, it's not. It's gone.
It's gone. Well, how many cards do you have?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 now.
6. And see, that's why it was so important early on for me to have you recount them.
Verify that there's 7.
Yeah, even though I counted them right in front of you.
So the
counted
fact that
them.
one has disappeared is
Yeah.
very surprising.
And
Yeah.
then you come over here and you say, okay, take the cards out. I say this to Joe, and count them face down. And so this is what we get here. Take the card out, count them face down. Get them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8.
Then I could turn back to you and say, what was the name of the person that you wrote down and passed on?
Doris.
Doris. And they said, look at Doris.
Right in the middle, yeah.
You see, so that would be another way to. Yesterday, I asked for the name ahead of time. In this case, I'm just showing you different presentation where you could just wait until the end and then ask what it is, and there it is. Nice effect, isn't
Great.
it? It's a fun thing to do too because it's so simple. It's so simple to set up. So that is
Death Flight.
I have something that's a lot of fun that I'm going to show you now, okay? It uses this paper and these scissors. We'll get back to that in a second. Let me ask Ingrid to help me this time, okay? It's okay. Ingrid, what I've done is to take this bag and fill it up with a bunch of names of people, famous people from all over. I mean, I've got, look at Clint Eastwood. Here's Madonna. Okay, Benjamin Franklin, Judy Garland, over here, Abraham Lincoln, Indira Gandhi. I got people, all kinds of people in here. Marie Curie and Babe Ruth and everybody, Al Pacino. What I am going to have you do is pick one of these names out, okay? And maybe you will know them, maybe you won't. I'll have to find out from you after you pick one. But just reach in there and just don't look. Like look away and just reach in and take one out. Slide one out, okay? I don't want to force her to take any. You got one? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, would you look at the name, and you can see they're all different. Look at the name. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
You do? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Because some of these names I just wrote all kinds of stuff, and maybe some people couldn't picture. But you can picture this person?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a crazy. Okay. No, that's good. This is kind of a crazy thing that I've never been a very good artist. I've never been a good artist. I'm okay, but not really a good artist. But I found something else I seem to be able to do pretty well, and that's what I'd like to show you right now. So would you just think of the name? Just think of the name. That okay, this is crazy. And the funny thing is, I really didn't even study this stuff too much when I originally we just came back from Tokyo, and they do this kind of thing. They do amazing things, like with bottles, and they paint the insides of bottles. I saw the same thing when I was in China, and they have incredible artwork. And it's a combination of folding and cutting, and I'm sorry if I'm getting paper all over everything here like this. We don't need this piece right here. Okay, and this piece right here, I think we can get rid of too. Okay. You've got the name still in your mind. You've been thinking of the name the whole time. Let me, I don't know if I've done this right or not. Let me just stand up here as I got to be careful because I don't want to rip anything. Some of the lines I were cutting, they were very close to the edge of Can I ask you what the name is you've been thinking about? Who is it?
Can I say the name?
Yes. Marilyn Monroe? What do you think? Is that good? Thank you.
Now, it was Percy Naldrit. Again, not a commonly known name in magic.
Well, you're a stir off some knowledge.
Useless information.
Okay.
But he was the one who first came up with the basic idea of this trick that became known as the Phantom Artist, called the celebrity trick. But then Annemann came up with the real kicker at the end, which is what makes this trick so popular, which is the silhouette finish. And it became known as the Phantom Artist, and actually it's listed in Practical Metal Effects as the co-creation of the two. But really it's this finish that gives it its distinctive characteristic, and it gives it the ability to play in the largest theater and play very successfully for a modern audience.
I have never used this effect anywhere, and I've used it many times over the years where the reaction wasn't incredible.
Right.
I mean,
right.
it just seems like.
And we did do this on Easy to Master Mental Miracles also, but there's no way we could have done this set without revisiting this trick.
Yeah, that's too good an effect. And of course, now we sell with Osterlin Mysteries our transparent change bag, which to me is
it's part of the Transparent Forces set.
Yes, and it's the one. Just so you know, it's simply a bag with an insert inside. In other words, it's got a secondary insert. So basically, there are two pockets in the bag. There's a front pocket and a back pocket. And just if any of you are looking at this saying that looks a little different than my bag, well, you know, we use bags that are manufactured by Avery, and Avery changed the design of their job ticket.
They used to have
holders.
a black border.
Yeah, and they took that away, and now they're just plain. But you know, in actuality,
there's actually a little more room in these, the new ones.
And they're sturdier. The black ones used to rip after a while. I've had this one quite a while, and it's still sturdy. So, but the ones with the black tape are gone. But anyway, so what I do is I fill up the front section with a bunch of cards with all different names, but I try to pick famous people from all different walks of life. And as I was calling out some of them yesterday, I mean, everybody from Benjamin Franklin and Judy Garland and and Babe Ruth and Thomas Jefferson, Jay Leno and Tom Cruise.
Right, yeah,
you name
Robert
it.
De Niro, I see.
Yeah,
that,
Robert De Niro,
Yeah.
Indira Gandhi, you know, everybody. Al Pacino. But anyways, and you can put your hand in there and spread them around. But unbeknownst to the audience, is in the back section, if you go into that, underneath the flap to the back section, every single one of these has Marilyn Monroe written on it.
Right.
Okay? And there's about an equal amount of Marilyn Monroe slips as there are the other slips. And they're all in the back section. And the cool part about it is, you see, I can reach in the front section and I can, you know, freely move them around and just show all these. I need to keep them covering up the Marilyn Monroe, but I can show all these slips. And then when I turn it over and ask the person to reach in there, and I always have the person look away, just in case they try to purposely grab one that they're looking at, and that's
Right.
on the other side and they can't get it out. So I say, look away, just feel around and take one out. And of course, they got to get a Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
But I don't ask what the name is. I just say, okay, keep it, you know, can you visualize the person? They say, yes, I'll get back to you. And so that's the end of, that's how the name is forced. Now, as far as the
So
silhouette.
now that's taken out of play. You put that back in your case, or
Yeah,
that's-
exactly. Yeah,
Right.
as soon as they got a name, can you recognize, see the person? Yes, okay, good. And just casually drop it into my case and it's gone.
Sure.
That's got no part in it. Now let me show you that. Now here's the silhouette. Now what we do, and it's funny because in the book, Practical Mental Effects, which came actually from the Jinx. If you have the Jinx, the silhouettes are this size.
They're 8.5 by 11.
Yeah.
They're big. Yeah.
So you can easily scan it and cut them out. So if you want to, if you have the Jinx and you want to do this effect, or if you have Practical Mental Effects and you can blow it up, that works too. They had the three silhouettes they offered were Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and
William Jennings Bryan.
yeah,
Which,
I wouldn't suggest you use that one. I don't know if a lot of
Be a
people would
little
recognize
obscure,
his
yeah.
face. Yeah. So with our kit that we sell, we have silhouettes that were designed just for us.
Right.
And we offer, with our kit, we have
Elvis.
Elvis, which of course, you know, everyone in the world can recognize him, Marilyn Monroe,
And David Letterman.
and David Letterman.
Right.
Yeah, so those are pretty recognizable figures today. 10 years from now, we may have to, you know, David Letterman may be out of the picture, we might have another, but there's always somebody you can use. Or you can go back to the original, George Washington or Abraham Lincoln. You can't go wrong with either of them either. So what you need to do is you need to cut out the thing, and this is a tedious process. Like I take one of our silhouettes, I make a copy, and then I sit down with an X-Acto knife and actually cut around all the black.
You cut all the black pieces out.
Yeah, so you're left with a silhouette that looks just like the person that
Right.
you need to do.
I mean, even down to the Marilyn Monroe's mole. there.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's what makes it look like that iconic.
Exactly.
picture, yeah.
And it really helps if you're wearing something dark, so that when you're done, you can hold it
Yes.
up like that. Or if you have a curtain that you can hold it up against, because out in midair you might not get quite the. You still see it, but there's nothing like a black background to really make it stand out. Okay, so then what you have to do, and this all has to be, it requires a certain amount of work to do that. You know,
Sure.
I was happy when it was done. Then you have to kind of fold it up, and trying not to let any kind of edges, you know, stick out that might rip off or anything and mess you up later. And if you want to put a few slivers of torn paper or cut paper inside there so that they fall out when you open it, that looks good too. I won't do that for now, but you can if you want. And then the new repositional craft sticks, glue sticks, are wonderful. You can do so many things with them. And one of the things that I use that for is this. I just put a little dab of the glue stick on here and stick this about like that on a blank sheet of paper. And this is the setup.
Okay.
So now you see you can pick this up. I mean, you know, you can actually hold it delicately, and you can cover up this like that by showing both sides. And because it's usually a stage effect and you're not too close,
Right.
you can pretty much get away with that pretty well. So anyway, so the routine is simply you show all the different names. You don't say anything about this yet. You show all the different names, and you have one selected. Can you picture this person in your mind? Yes, I can. Okay. And you put the rest away. And then you pick up this paper, and I talked about, I was never a good artist, but I found something that can do kind of good. And now the paper, it's inside, and what I do is I just kind of make a couple of kind of off folds like this, and then I say, okay, let me just do this, and you know, like this, and of course we don't need this over here, and then you start doing this and just
Right.
cutting away, and basically what I'm gonna do is cut away the entire sheet of paper.
Right, right.
About halfway through, I do a refold, so now I got all the,
It's on the outside.
on the outside, I'm cutting everything away that's not this.
And to put it simply, you're just cutting away anything that's not that.
Yeah,
You know? yeah.
exactly. You know, do this, and okay, we don't need this, like this, until finally, at the end, that's what I got.
Yeah.
And then, and of course, pieces are all over the place, and then it's just a question of carefully opening it. And usually, when you get about halfway through, people start saying, "Wait a minute, look at that," you know, and then. Usually, when I try to get it pretty much open, and I say, by the way, what was the name of the person that you've been thinking about? You don't say, what's the name of the person that you
It's on your card,
selected.
right.
Yeah, by this time now, it's just a person that they thought about. And whatever it is, there it is. You hold it up and show it, you know, and
That's-
everybody freaks out. Yeah. So that is the Phantom Artist. I think we lost a little piece of Marilyn's right eye, but it still works.
Cut.
Anyone recognize the name Tervo? He was a prophetic demon. I'd like to demonstrate my prophetic demon proficiency now, okay? In all seriousness, I'm gonna write something here. None of you have any idea what I'm about to write, what I'm about to do. Nothing was discussed ahead of time. I am going to write that and this, and this, like that. And look, I'm going to take this, I'm going to fold this up, put it right here, okay? And let me see, who am I going to get to help me now? David, I think I will ask you to help me, okay?
Okay.
David, you know what? I think I'm going to go with, if you don't mind, I'm going to go with Nadia, okay? Nadia, I'm going to give you this paper, and take this pen. Nadia, do exactly what I say. I don't let anyone else see what you are about to write. I want you to write down, number one, a color, any color you want.
Okay.
Then I want you to write down a number from 1 to 1,000. Any number in between 1 and 1,000.
Okay.
And finally, I want you to write down any city in the world.
Okay.
And fold it up. And the pen, thank you. And would you take it and put your initials on it?
Yes.
And hold it above your head, okay? Now, again, let me remind you all what happened. I came out here, and I took a paper, and I wrote down 3 things. I told you I wrote down myself a color and a number and a city, okay? Take my prediction. Let me see this for a second. Your favorite color is blue,
I guess.
and you like the number 1,000 you wrote down, and you wrote down the city Seattle. That's what you wrote right here. Open up my prediction. Read out loud what I wrote. Say it out loud.
Blue, 1,000. Seattle.
Thank you so much.
Now, Tervel is the name that Orville Meyer gave to this this billet effect. So, and this is another piece that we're revisiting that we originally presented on Easy to Master Mental Miracles. But again, we couldn't possibly leave practical mental effects without presenting this.
I think this one probably has the distinction of being the boldest and most frightening effect to do in practical mental effects,
Right.
because it's so barefaced and bold. It's incredible. But okay, here's the thing: you take a piece of paper and you say you're going to make a prediction, And of course, you can write something if you want, but you don't have to write anything because this is never going to get seen. And you fold it up and place it down in the middle of the table. Now, somebody else is given an identical piece of paper
Okay.
and asked to put down, and you walk away and you say, put down a color, and let's say a number from 1 to 1,000. And finally, any city in the world you can put down. And then refold the paper when you're done.
Okay.
And what I do is come over and take back the pen
All right.
and the paper and walk over to somebody on the other side of the room and hand them the paper and say, initial the paper and hold it above your head.
All right.
But while you were doing that, I got a dummy out of my pocket, and I've just switched now
Okay.
for that person's billet. So now what I have here is what the spectator has written.
Right.
The
Now, did you just use the standard Anneman billet switch?
Yep. While you were writing, I took this out of my pocket and I was holding it. Then I came back, I took the pen
Right.
from
Okay.
you, and,
Yep.
and I just took the billet, and I walk over to somebody else and I did the switch, which is, again, which we showed before. Here's the billet, this gets pulled back, the other one gets pushed forward, and that's it, that's the switch.
Okay.
So now this is the dummy billet, and this is the one with the information.
Okay.
If I haven't done it too many times and mixed up which is which. So anyways, now you come back and you're standing in, now this person's over there. Oh, and when you hand it to them, you say, put your initials on it and hold it over your head. Just like in the question and answer that we did in the first 3 videos. So now the person's standing there with an initial video, or
Billet.
initial billet that he's holding over his head. Now you go back to your own prediction,
Okay.
and casually pick it up and say, you know, when I came out here, I wrote a prediction. I also wrote a name. Oh, I'm sorry. I also wrote a color, a number, and a city. And as you're talking, you open it up.
Okay.
Because why not? It's your own prediction.
Right.
Okay? And you look, and you see blue 868 London. That's what you wrote, which supposedly is being held above the other guy's head.
Right.
And that, okay, so you remember that, blue 868 in London, and you casually fold it up and put it back down. And then, or hand it to someone and say, well, you take charge of my prediction.
Right,
As soon
okay.
as they have it, you can ditch the other billet,
All right.
the dummy, and you go back to the first person and you boldly take it and you say, okay, let's see what you wrote. You like the color blue, and you wrote the number 868, and you wrote the city London, and the person's sitting there saying, yeah. Of course, I'm looking at nothing. It's a blank billet. And then I say to the person who supposedly has my prediction, would you open it up and read out loud for everyone to hear what I had predicted before this person wrote anything?
So they're going to say blue, 868, and London, but they're actually reading
The
what
actual-
the first spectator wrote.
The actual, yeah, the written thing. And as soon as they do it and everybody applauds, you just take it back. Like casually, I just lay one on top of another, just gesture like that, and put them both in my pocket, and end the story. So that's why I say that it's
pretty bold.
That scares a lot of people to actually take the billet that they wrote and substitute and pretend that's your prediction.
And I think these are the kinds of effects that somebody will read in a book like Practical Mental Effects and say, well, that could never work. How could that ever work?
Yeah.
But yet it not only worked, but it worked exceedingly well in the performance.
Yeah, I mean, afterwards, the people who were here, who are just college students walking around, they were talking to us. They were flabbergasted by a lot, especially that one. So it's strong material. I've got something very interesting to show you now. And let me begin. Here's some of our high-quality reading material, 3 People magazines. There they are. Pick up 2. Any 2 you want. Yep. Okay. And give me either one. Okay. That's the one we use. Put that right over here. Now, got some envelopes of different sizes. Let me get my pad. I've thought about how I was going to do this, and I think the way I'm going to do this today is I'm going to actually put my name on here, my signature, like that. I'm going to fold this up and put this inside here. Right there. Can you seal it up for me? Done?
take this one and put this right inside here, okay? Seal that one up for me. And you know what, I'll tell you what, after you seal, put your name right across the flap there. And put that in there and seal that one up. Now, I want everyone to think of single digits, like numbers from 1 through 9, okay? And just, go ahead, you want to write one right there? Not too big, just write it right there. Go ahead. Okay, good. You want to write one underneath? Yep. Go ahead, you write one underneath. You? Let me come on out here. Give me a number, any number. 8. What? Say it.
8.
8, okay. That's probably enough. No, let's do another one. Yeah, let's do another one. Well, wait a minute. That's probably enough. Oop. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Now, who's good with addition? Here, why don't you add them up? Go ahead. You add them up. You got it? You got a total? You sure? 16 and 8 is, let's just do this. 16 and 8 is 24. That's up 29 and 8 is 37. And 8 is...
Oh, it's 45.
Oh, okay, okay. I just want to make sure we got the right ones. No, that's okay. 45. Yeah, okay. So that's fair? You want to double check anything? All your numbers are there.
Yes.
Right, okay. All your numbers are there. Okay, so 45. That's the right answer.
Yes.
Okay. This is crazy. I did something like this earlier. I'm going to do it again. I want everybody to join hands. Everybody join hands. Except you two, put your hands like this. We're going to form a circle right around from this book, right around to this envelope. Ready? I don't know if anyone feels like any electricity or anything like that. You do, don't you? It's crazy. Okay, look at this is nuts. This is nuts. You chose the magazine. I put it. You picked it out. I put it right down and haven't touched it. Open to page 45. Do it right now. What's this? Isn't that the paper I signed before?
What?
Do you want to open that up? Take out the envelope inside there. Is that envelope the one you signed?
Yes, it is.
Open that one up. And that's the one you sealed up too. Open that one up. You sealed it, remember? What's in there?
Page. What the?
Well, it seems there's always one effect in each set of DVDs that we've done. The first three, of course, it was Yggdrasil. On this one, it's the Whim of Tituba. There's always one that has an extraordinarily odd name. Tituba was one of the was the original witch of Salem, as the legend goes. But this effect with a pretty elaborate name actually comes down to it being a very strange magazine test or book test. It can
Right.
be used with books also, but this had a very, very strong effect on the audience. This had a no way kind of ending with the audience.
And part of the reason is because of that number thing that we'll talk about, which I didn't want to use in that earlier book test.
Right.
It's just so fair, you know, that reinforces it. But let me go over the setup. Again, you know, you just saw the performance a second ago. So let me just go over the setup. You have to determine what magazine is going to be the one that's going to, you know, have the page appear in or disappear from. And so in this case, we're going with the this People magazine. Now what's important, here's the page, same one I used yesterday. Magazines aren't numbered on every single page. I mean, okay, there's
Right.
93, and then there's 90, but there's no 92 or 91. It jumps to 88. Now we got a couple pages here that got no numbers. Now we're down to 78. So you want to get a number in the high 30s or low 40s, mid 40s, that were the number. And in this case, this page doesn't even have a number, but it's okay because this the page is going to get missing. What's important is the page before it, 44. Okay, and that one has a number. And 43 before that, and then 40. So when the person is looking for the right page, you know, they'll be able to get to it. So you tear it out, kind of jagged. And what I do, the way I elected to do the next part is to take my pad and just sign my name like that, fold it in half, and actually, just to be in a say, well, I don't have it here with me, but I have that glue stick that I used
Yes.
earlier when I stuck on the paper with
The repositional glue stick.
and I stuck that on here so that this little wouldn't fall out in the handling of the magazines. So there's still a little stickum there left, but since we're not going to be, you know, using this in the actual effect, and this goes in the middle, I'm not too worried about it right now.
Okay.
Then you take the page, and the page I just kind of fold it up, but kind of, you know, like this, not in a neat fashion, but, you know, sort of the way you might expect if a strange force from a different dimension ripped the page out and transported it.
All right.
And then what you do is you take and seal that in one of the smaller envelopes. Let me shove it all the way down. I probably have to make it a little smaller to fit in there, so let me just do that. And then you just take and fold it, put it inside here, seal it up. And then this one, what I have here on the second size envelopes, because we have small, medium, and large, on the second size envelope, I have another one of those flapless, where I've cut off the top
Right.
envelope, and there's nothing in it. And then you take this envelope that has the page and what have you, and put that in the second envelope down, but don't seal it. Just leave it like that. Let it overlap so it looks like the envelope's flap. Throw an elastic around it, and now we're finally ready to go.
Okay.
Okay, so here's how we begin. I bring out the magazine and show the three magazines. And usually it's at this point I talk about the different kinds, and I usually do this, and I just say, okay, pick up two of them. Okay? And, you know, this is my way of handling equivocating. Give me either one.
All right.
Okay. Now, set that down in front of you.
Right. Okay.
So all I did was force it.
Sure.
Let's do it a different way. This time you give me
All right.
different ones. And
Okay.
you know, and the
Sure.
whole thing is to be totally just, you know, whatever happens, you just
So,
go with it
all
immediately.
right.
Yeah, give me two. Okay, good. Now,
And those get set aside.
yeah, see, just like that. No, okay, slide this in front of you.
Okay.
So that's how we get to the right magazine, just like that. Now I say, okay,
The only other possibility is if they hand you this one and they keep the
Yeah.
non-forest,
And well, okay,
then
we'll
you
do that.
just take, all right, so they would take these
Okay.
two,
Yep.
and so that one goes.
okay, we don't
All right,
give
and
me either
then,
one.
okay, so then I'm going to do this.
This one?
Yeah, I'm going
Okay,
to
so this is the one that's Jen says yes, inside the proposal. Okay, well, that's a good one, okay.
So hand me one,
Yeah, well-
and then that implies that, okay, you hand me one because that's the one we'll use.
Right,
All
exactly.
yeah.
You just, you know, when you're in the right mental state, it just happens
Right.
so fast you don't even think about it.
and it just goes right by everybody. I guess I've just used magician's choice so many years that, you know,
Right.
that I could make you take Peking duck in a Chinese restaurant when you're asking for fried rice, you know?
Okay.
It's, oh, that's not what you want? Okay, there you go. Anyway, so now we got the magazine. So now what I do is I say, okay, look, I got 3 different kinds of envelopes. And I take, do this. I'm going to take a sheet of my paper, and I'm going to just sign it like this with my autograph or my signature, fold it in half, and this is the way I do it. And I have a reason for doing this whole thing this way. I put it in there, I said, would you seal it up?
Sure.
I'm sorry to bother you, but just seal that up. And then I pick up the stack of the other envelopes, and I say, okay, look at, I'm just going to put that right inside, and I start it, you know, I hold it up here, and I start it inside that envelope, and I tilt it down. So, I mean, what could
Yeah.
look better than that? It looks perfect, even from you know, an inch away, and of course,
It
the
looks like
audience-
it's going in that top envelope, which it is, but it's going in the flapless envelope.
Right, but the thing is, because it's so wide and because it's opening up that envelope, it's forcing it down almost, and it looks perfect. So you just slide it in, okay, and as soon as it's all the way, and you just pull on the flap, and say, would you sign that one up?
Yeah.
Now I've just done the switch,
Right.
and so okay, so now you've got the large envelope with the small one inside that's got the page. And then at this point, I say, you know what, initial the flap too.
Okay.
And all this is great because later, people misremember what was initialed, who sealed what where, and all the rest of the stuff, and that all helps. And then if you just put that inside the big one, okay?
Yeah.
Now here's, and seal it. Okay, now here is the part that it's a little tricky, but it really is it's not that hard if you just think about it and calculate as you go. I know that I want to force page 45 in here. So I go out into the audience and I ask for numbers. Just call out numbers from single digit numbers. Now, since I need to get to 45, I subtract 9 from that, and that brings me to 36. 36 is my goal, and then I'm going to add one more number to the list to bring it up to 45.
Okay.
Because once it hits 36 or more, now I can bring it up to 45 with one more number. So let's say I go to the first person. Give me a number.
6.
6. Okay, so I write down 6, go to a second person.
8.
8. So now, right now, I know I'm working on 14. I go to another person.
3.
3. 14, now I'm working on 17.
Okay.
Another number?
5.
5. 17 and 5 is 22. Okay. Now I'm at 22, and I go to another person. Give me another number.
Now, I wonder if they, all right, well, say they said 9.
For the next number?
Yeah.
Okay, now that's 31. But I leave a space.
Okay.
See, I leave a space. So now I'm at 31. Okay, I got room for 1 or 2 more numbers, depending on what. Give me a number.
4.
4. Now I'm at 35. I still need another number. Give me another number. 35.
2.
2. Now I'm at 37, right?
Yeah.
Now, as I go back to the front with this list of numbers, I'm at 37. I needed 8 to get it up to
Right.
45. I write it in 8 in that space that I left before.
Okay.
I just fill it in as I'm walking back and draw a line underneath. Now I can hand it to anybody. I mean, first of all, it's not like any kind of add a number thing.
Right.
There's no way I can switch those. Those are the numbers. So add them up,
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
No, not of course. It's 17, 22, 39, 45.
45, see? And I can even, if I wanted to, I can even go around and say, is your number there? Is your number there? I mean, you can pass it around.
Nobody
can't
will
you?
ever notice that nobody said 8 by that point.
Yeah, well, because I'm walking around saying, name a number. And yeah, they want to see their number. That's about it.
That's it.
And the person who said 5 and the person who said 9, they don't know what the
Yeah.
other one said, so they don't know there shouldn't have been an 8 in there. It's never a question. So you look at the situation. You've got a magazine that was freely chosen, supposedly. You have numbers that there's no way you could control because people in the audience came up and they added them up, and now it's 45. So we got page 45 in the book. And now we can do the thing with the hands again
Yep.
and all that. And would you open to page 45? And you saw what happened yesterday. First
Yeah.
of all,
I mean,
first of all, because there are some numbers close by,
And then,
and like, what's going on?
Yeah, the page is missing.
And you see how my folded billet over here almost holds it up a little bit,
Yeah.
so you can see it. And it's like, what? And wait a minute, what's this? I don't even say, isn't this the paper I signed earlier? But I just go, what's that? And everybody recognizes that, you know, that's what you wrote inside there. I said, and the page is gone. I said, look, you've had this, you know, the whole time. Would you open it up? And so you open up the flap, of course, and when you bring it out and turn it over, at this point I say, oh yeah, and there's your signature, right?
There's initials, yeah.
You sealed this up and signed it, and inside that one, take it out. That's one. Remember, you sealed that one up yourself too.
Yep.
You see what I'm doing? I mean, there's no
And
way.
the initials really help sell that part of it.
Exactly. And then finally, and it's like, what? Yeah, and I mean, at that point, you know, unfolding it and fitting it in almost became like an anticlimax.
Right, because they immediately know what it is.
Yeah, and soon as
They don't know how it would be
Yeah, and
possible, but they know what it is.
now I find that there are some people who just cannot stand not to see something completed. So they got to see it fit in, even
Yeah.
though they know that it's got to be the right thing. But they want to actually see that.
And of course,
And that- yeah.
because it is actually from that page, it fits perfectly. So.
Yeah, of course. And here we are again. Everything can be examined once again.
It's terrific.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful effect. It was a good one to end this whole set with, I think.
Now, you made a change to Orville Meyer's Sim Mist, which is the next effect we're going to discuss. It was originally done with magazines,
Right.
but you opted to use books, in this case, flashback books.
Yeah, and of every routine, this is the one I changed the most. But I did it for a reason. Okay, let's talk about the basic methodology, which is to take 3 magazines and then you have 2 that are the same and switch the cover on one of those with another cover from another magazine. So what you wind up with is what looks like 3 different magazines. But in fact, 2 of the magazines are alike inside.
All right.
And the reason you do that is so if somebody in the audience says, okay, look on page 72, and somebody's got one of the magazines, you can pick up the duplicate and say, okay, yeah, open your magazine up to 72 just like I'm doing and look at the word. And of course, what you're looking at is what they're looking at, and that's the effect.
Okay.
Now, in the book, the way this works is he's got the number sequence where everybody gives a single digit, and then you add whatever is necessary to bring it up to the right total is how you force the page in the first book.
Okay.
The method that I'm going to later use in a different effect. So I didn't want to do that again because I didn't want to use the same method
Sure.
for 2 different book tests. Plus, I thought, how ponderous is that just to find the page in a book?
Right.
I mean, if anything, you could use a Hoy effect, right? You could just say, stop me anywhere. Okay, that's 72. Open
You
your
just miscall the
yeah,
number.
just miscall the number.
Right.
And then I thought about, and as far as the rest goes, changed into magazine pages, well, most magazines don't have numbers on every page.
Not,
So that-
they have
yeah, not
sometimes
anymore.
full page of graphics and there's no page number.
Yeah, or you can go through 3 or 4 pages without finding a number on the bottom. And
Right.
so if somebody says open to page 32, there's a good chance you're not going to find the 32, and you're going to go back to 27 and figure out what
Have to
32
count,
is.
yeah.
So I said a book makes much more sense. So then I was going to just take a cover off 2 duplicate books and replace. And I said, well, why do that? One flashback is already made that way.
Right.
And then the more I thought about it, I said, you know, I'm just going to do the routine that I've done for years with flashback because it's the same principles. One is a force, and the other one is learning what the book or the word is from the book itself.
All right.
And so it really is the same principle. Then I said, well, as long as I'm going to do that, I might as well do the whole routine, including the flashback business,
Okay.
which I won't explain because it's a marketed effect. But I mean, I think almost any mentalist knows what that principle is. And you can still buy these books, by the way. I found
Yes.
that they're still for sale. So anyways, basically, here's what you get when you buy Flashback. And you have 5 books, okay? And there's a gimmick so that if you take this and slide it into the book anywhere you want, and if I just say, look at the first word,
Yes.
I know the word is prowling.
Correct.
Okay, because of what's printed on the opposite side. And that, we'll just say no more about it.
Yes.
But that's how, and 4 of the books are like that. Not only that, 4 of the books are exactly the same. If I open to page 68 here, outside line, if I open to page 68 here, outside line. See, they're all the same.
Right.
So, so that's a feature I've never seen people use that too much. But that's an important feature. And then finally, there's one last book where the book is the same, but all the numbers are the same numbers on the bottom, 92, 93. So what I did is I started off using a flashback sequence, then I inverted the order of the effects. I used the force for the final thing instead of the first effect.
Okay.
In practical mental effects, the force determines the page in the first effect. And then I used the learn page as the middle effect. So I do the thing with the word a couple times real quick, back and forth, where they slide a card in and pick at the first word, and I tell them what it is. It's like real quick, mind reading. It's like, wow, I can look at a word and he knows what I'm thinking. Then I say, okay, well, let's do this. I have one person take a book, and I have another person take a book, and I say, okay, slide the card in anywhere you want. But this time what I do is I open the page up and I say, what number? And you look down to read the number in the bottom of the page.
Right.
And while you're doing that, I'm looking up here. And I
Yep.
see the word on top, and you'll never see that because you're too busy looking at
Sure.
the page number, and I'm looking up at the top of the book, and I see furniture here is a little curious. That's what it says on top. He's looking down here, I'm reading it right in front of your eyes.
Yes.
So now this person, I say, okay, you open your book to that page, 38,
Right.
and I know what he's looking at.
Because page 38 of this book is going to say exactly the same thing at the top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They're all the
Yeah.
same inside. And then finally, and this is what I do in all my shows, and of course I have a different ending that I go a little bit beyond that with the Seafire sequence thing, or the Seafire in the dictionary.
Right.
But that's a different thing altogether. Since this book has all the same numbers inside, the way I play this up is I get somebody else who has, or a different book, and I say, okay, some people think maybe if I know the number, I've memorized all the books, so I've got time to do that. But I'll tell you what, just open it anywhere near the middle and just show them the page.
Right.
Well, because this book has all the same page numbers, it doesn't matter. Anywhere he shows you, and
Yes.
of course he's not looking. I say, just hold it up like this so you can't even see it. The only person who'll know is you.
Right.
And he shows you the page, and you open your book up to that page, and of course I already know that that page says Laura wiped her eyes, or or something
Yes.
to that effect.
Well, they can look at either side, though, right?
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can
it can be
memorize-
92
yeah.
or 93, so you would need to.
Laura wiped the tears from her eyes, but if he was looking on this side, he wanted to immediately return to see Laura.
Right.
But I didn't even take that chance yesterday.
Okay.
Because when they opened up, if you watch the performance, when they opened it up to the page, 92, 93.
Right.
And I went like this. I was like turned away. I said, okay, now just look at what the top line. I just did that. So I eliminated having to even guess which side.
Right. Okay.
You see, I mean,
Yes.
little things like that. I think that scares some performers to do that, but I do that all the time. That's how I get around a lot of little things.
And I think it was a
Just do
good
this,
tip
do that.
too with books that are numbered like this. And there's several force books on the market that
Right.
that force a page number.
Right.
But I think it was an important detail for you to say, open the book in the middle.
Yes.
Because the page number is good, it's going to be 92, 93, and even though that's not said openly, if somebody were to do this and it's page 90, 92, well,
Yeah,
in this
that-
case,
Yeah, the
yeah,
actual
but I
first
mean,
page
like
started
at this
a little ways
point, this is where the numbering starts here.
Right.
But that's
obviously
not page 92.
Right,
So,
exactly.
so just by saying in the middle is a nice subtlety because it makes it all look visually correct.
And again, there's nothing wrong with saying so. I do that all the time to control the audience.
Sure.
You don't have to have a reason. Why do I have to open in the middle? Why can't
Well,
I
it
do-
makes sense to eliminate, why wouldn't you want to eliminate any possibility of the effect going wrong?
And I have a standard line that I use all the time, makes absolutely no sense, but I'm always ready with it, and it almost never happens. But if somebody were to say to me, well, why can't I open it more? And I think at one point we were doing something, somebody did say that during the filming yesterday, and I just said, that's too easy. Open it in the middle, make it hard.
Right. Yep.
And that's like good. It makes no sense. Why would the middle be any harder than but you say, no, it's too easy. Harry Lorraine used to do that with card effects, where he needs them to cut near the beginning or middle of the deck. So it's like, cut it in the middle. That's too easy if you cut near the top or the bottom.
Right, right.
You know?
And
Oh,
if
okay.
you really analyze that, it makes no sense.
Exactly.
But it sounds like a perfectly reasonable thing to say.
And it's gone and forgotten 2 minutes later when you enter the effects.